Hello everyone, my name is Kamila and welcome to my channel. And today in my slow kitchen we're going to make a cheddar cake, which is I'm not really sure how to call whether it's a cake or it's a pound cake or it's a buckle or it's a snack cake. I mean, you can call whatever you want. You can actually tell me how would you call it, because this is slightly like a little bit of buckle, a little bit of cake, a little bit of pound cake, and yeah, we will see. For today we're gonna need 2 eggs, which I already washed, then 200 grams of sour cream, 230 grams of sugar, white sugar, regular or any sugar, then 220 grams of all-purpose flour, of course our butter, which is about 100 grams, baking powder, 10 grams of baking powder, and some vanilla. Well, preferably to use vanilla extract, of course, but as I already mentioned, it's very difficult to find it in my area because I'm living in sort of like a countryside area. So I'm just using the vanilla powder. We're gonna need our cherries. Usually this recipe requires around like 500 or 400 grams of cherries, but I love to be lots of cherries, so I use about, like, I think it's around like 600 cherries. It can be fresh or they can be frozen, but defrosted, of course. But the actual recipe takes a little time, so for now we already start to preheat our oven to 170 Celsius and 340 Fahrenheit. Right. Yeah, and we're going to melt our butter right now because it needs time to cool down, just a little bit time. And please do not boil it, because otherwise we will need much more time to cool it down. We're just going to use the microwave and to do like sort of like a minute or less than a minute. And the reason I'm wearing this dress today is because I find this cheddar cake is a kind of very passionate thing. Also, I was going today finally to share with you some chapters from my book. Not that dramatic in the first chapters, of course, but anyway, so this is my image for today, but I had to cover my back anyway so that you will not see too much skin. Maybe you will be disturbed with too much skin. All right, that's enough. Forgot to mention that we need some almond flakes, or I believe it's like a chopped or cut almond. We will toast them slightly later. Alright, I'm gonna do it like this. Up. But we also need to cover the what's called edges. If you don't have a baking paper or you're against it, for example, you can just butter the bottom and the edges and then dust it a little bit with flour and it will be just fine. We do it so that the paper sticks to the walls. The first one to go and easily sticks to the walls. Also, yes, easy peasy. So now we're gonna mix 2 eggs with sugar and some vanilla. My mixer is a menace, so I'm gonna spare your ears. 230 grams of sugar, 1, 2, a little bit of vanilla. Oop. ,200 grams of sour cream. And next is our butter, which we already melted at the beginning, and now it's not that hot, which is perfect. Right here. We're gonna need 220 grams of flour. I'm going to measure it first. And 10 grams of baking powder. And we're going to mix it slightly. we're going to sift our mixture. And now slowly mixing it. This is the most tedious part of the process because we have to get rid of the all flour lumps. Okay, I think we're here. It should look like this, you know, smooth. But for now we need to prepare our cherries. I have defrosted my cherries, and now there is lots of liquid here on the bottom. We're gonna need it for cherry syrup that we're going to make later, to put it on top. Leave some of them for the syrup, for the topping. If you're using fresh cherries, what do you need to do? First of all, of course, to remove the stone or pit or pip, whatever you want from it, and then wash them, dry them off, and put some cornstarch and then shake it so that all the cherries will be coated with cornstarch. I'm using the frozen ones since the texture is already kind of not the same as for fresh ones. It will be very difficult to dry them out because they're squeezed and kind of like meh. So I'm putting my cornstarch already now and just going to mix it. It's going to be very slicky. I don't know the word, soggy, or anyway, but it will anyway help. Let's put it like here and mix it nicely so that each cherry gets some cornstarch. The reason why we are doing it is because cornstarch absorbs in extra moisture and doesn't let the cherries to go down completely on the very bottom, to sink. We need half of our batter now. Oh, it's very heavy. My God. It's probably will be enough, and then we spread it all over the dish. And now we need to put half of our, maybe the biggest, no, not the half, but the biggest amount of our cherries inside. Preferably to spread it evenly so that it completely covered with cherries. So it should look like this. And we cover it with the rest of our batter. It's not a very easy process because it's kind of thick. Now we need to spread it again to cover our cherries. This is the first video actually when I'm not using a script, because I found out that it's so tedious and so difficult, actually not even tedious, but so difficult to learn of these 5 pages of words that I write every time. So I decided to go and try like this. But the problem is that the moment when I step into the kitchen and look into the camera, all of my English language vocabulary just disappears. And now the rest of our cherries go on top. Something like this. Oop, it's kind of little, so I have to rotate it all the time. Yep. And now it's ready to go to the oven, which is already ready. We're setting the timer to 45 or 50 minutes. We will need to make this syrup that we will put on top. First I will start with the cornstarch again. Mix it. And some sugar. I like it to be sour, so I don't put very much sugar, but I usually taste it in the process. So now it goes on the stove. And we also will need to toast our almond, what's that? Sliced or almond flakes on a dry pan on a medium heat. But I do recommend you to definitely make the syrup because it's a game changer. I mean, this cake is absolutely fantastic by itself, but it's not that it is moistured because it has butter and sour cream in it. But with this syrup, it's absolutely fantastic, I promise you. Our almonds are ready to go on a pan. Spread them on the pan, and we can switch to my book for now. I really wanted to hear your opinion if you guys sit through the whole 45 or 50 minutes to read a couple of first chapters, because this is really a huge effort and lots of time, and I think around like more than a year. But it seems I'm not writing absolutely every day. Of course it takes lots of time, but if I was determined writing at least I don't know, 1,000 words a day, it would be finished already. But unfortunately it is what it is. So we're gonna switch off the almonds for now. I need to try the sweetness. Okay, need a little bit more sugar. And now it looks like, it should look like this, and it looks absolutely the way it should look. It will get slightly thicker when it cools down. But if you're using fresh cherries and you need to make this syrup, probably you can just add some water, cherries, and maybe blend some cherries and put them into this mixture, so that the syrup becomes, you know, richer. And since everything is ready and we only need to wait, and I'm really eager to hear your opinion about the book, about the first chapters. And I actually prepared a glass of wine for us, and if you have wine as well, or any other drinks or any other beverages, you can just help get it and relax. Well, in perfect scenario, it should be like a very dramatic atmosphere here. I do this, and then the candles are on and the light goes down, and the atmosphere and the vibe is so, you know, romantic and intriguing and something like that. But I can probably do like this and just put down the exposure a little bit. We will see. And I am actually convinced that anyone can write one good book in their life. This is not my thought. I heard it somewhere that anyone's story is worth a book, and anyone can actually do that. The problem is why we don't have this almost 8 billion of authors or writers in the world is just because it's not very easy. Well, you have to be old enough, and also it's not very easy to actually write and to finish the book. It's very easy to study it, but not very easy to finish it. I think I need to put down this camera a little bit. All right. And sometimes I think we do really underestimate the story that we have, the story of our life. It doesn't always have to be dramatic or heartbreaking. I think that sometimes sunny and summery stories, you know, it's not like I think, it is a fact that sometimes just kind and stories full of happiness and joy to attract people, to make people fall in love with you and your book or your novel or anything else. It doesn't have to be a book, by the way. I think I got too much exposed over here. I know how to look more appropriate for YouTube. Maybe I will just cover it with the emoji. I didn't think about that actually, because when you just look in the mirror and you're looking that way, everything is very decent. Of course, it is a girly story about my path to self-love, to self-care, to healthy relationship, because before that I was in a kind of abusive. I was raised in a very strict family where you don't actually talk too much, so that's why you have to learn everything by your own experience, and experience is not always very nice. That happened to me, and by the time I got 33, I actually got to the point when I was ready for a healthy relationship. It got some therapy, it got some, some traveling, some discovering, some exploring my desires, my wishes, my own psychological problems, my own preferences. And on this path, I have done actually lots of things, because I get distracted easily and I like to switch to many things like, like Indian dancing, Japanese language, after that to some pelvis floor trainings, then some other women courses, then some stained glass, then ceramics, then doing some other dancing or something like that. Always switching to different kind of activities, because I was looking for myself. Trying to understand who I am. On this path, while exploring myself in all these ways, of course I tried many things, like the legal things. Also some spiritual practice, like breathing practice, lots of meditation. I went to, I think all... Oof! I broke the handle. And it's completely broke. I don't even know how is it possible for a not very heavy woman to break the actual metal handle. Let's pretend that it's okay. Oof, I need a drink. Idea of my book of a girl living in her normal life, absolutely normal. I believe that there are like billions of, maybe millions of girls living the same life, and trying to achieve something, working and trying to find a healthy, sort of Bridget Jones, in 30s, trying to find a healthy relationships. And but the fantastic part of this autobiography is the universe part, that as I can actually imagine, this something. It's like a universe bureau somewhere in the space, let's say so, that takes care of our wishes. It's not like I do completely believe in that or not believe. I do believe that people have a very strong will, and we have a power to change our life and other people's life. But sometimes it is easy and very comforting to think that there is something like a superior mind that knows everything beforehand, that knows how to help us and stuff. All these spiritually enlightened people say that the universe is made to make us happy, and we just need to be guided, to follow their guide, and to catch the signs from the universe and stuff. I don't want to be obsessed with this idea, and I am absolutely not, because I am like a rational person, but I love this idea anyway. Well, anyway, this is about some very successful employee in universe bureau, and about just a random girl from the universe, from the Earth, and all of these creatures in the universe are trying to understand what request this girl from the Earth, her name is Susie, what request she has and what she actually wants to achieve. But the problem is, as for many people in reality, as problem is my problem as well, since it is autobiography. This is very difficult to make your request, to understand what you actually want, because every minute something changes and you as well change your request. One chapter is devoted to this Universal Bureau and the guy, this employee, whose name is Erleon, and another chapter is devoted to Susie, and they are kind of separated with, they go like separated stories. I'm not a very good reader, especially after a couple of sips of wine. So this starts like an advertisement in the Universal Bureau. Dreaming of exploring distant galaxies but conquering neighboring planets takes up all your free time? Or perhaps you've been longing to move to a paradise hidden within a black hole, but your courage has always eluded you? Well, we have the solution. Welcome to the Universal Bureau. We are here to make your most ambitious dreams come true. A golden logo shimmered across the screen as the voiceover continued. Wherever you are in this infinite universe, we are ready to help. Our specialists, like Erleon, provide professional, timely assistance to residents of every corner of the cosmos. Using cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, we ensure your dreams become reality. Don't miss the chance to see your most extraordinary request fulfilled. Reach out to us and start a new chapter in your life. The Universal Bureau, your guide through a world of infinite possibilities. Please note, all requests and subjects to approval by the Galactic Request Council and may be modified to comply with a company policy. Requests for immortality, ultimate power, or complimentary cosmic donuts are strictly prohibited. Additional charges may apply to intragalactic delivery or time distortion adjustments. The screen faded to black, leaving the room bathed in silence for only a moment before the applause erupted. The loudest cheers came from the Great Attractor Division. It wasn't surprising. This department handled the most challenging and high-profile requests in the Bureau, taking pride in its reputation as the true core of the universe. Erleon, you're so brilliant on screen, someone called out from the crowd. But it feels good to be the face of the company, another voice chimed in. Now there is no way they'll overlook you for the promotion, a third voice added. Chief Administrator of the Attractor, a seat on the Universal Council. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Just don't forget about us when you're rubbing elbows with the big wings in headquarters, someone else dissed. Erleon stood at the center of the room, glowing faintly with an aura of smug superiority. He didn't bother to respond, letting the prize wish over him like an inevitability. If he had a face, it would have been wearing a calculated smirk, the kind that hinted he had known all along what was coming. The commercial was just the final flourish in a career already littered with accomplishments. No one in the division could match his results and the quality of his work, and everyone knew it. Did you see how he looked in the camera? One of the interns whispered, wide-eyed, like he already knew he was getting promoted. Erleon allowed the faintest flicker of amusement to ripple through his glow. Of course he knew. The Supreme Administrator herself had summoned her to headquarters, and Erleon had no doubt what awaited him there. "I'll leave for headquarters in 2 micro-intervals," he announced. The room hummed with approving murmurs, but the energy shifted sharply when the door to the hall creaked open. A figure slipped in, grey and formless, carrying an atmosphere so heavy it seemed to dampen the room's light. "Who's that?" an intern whispered. "Personal secretaries to Lord Solaris," someone replied in a low voice. "The Chief Administrator of the Milky Way, probably here to face another reprimand." "The Milky Way?" the intern frowned. "Does the sector even fall under the attractor?" "Well, technically yes," another voice said with a smirk. "But we stopped counting their numbers ages ago. Their metrics ruin our averages. They've got only one habitable planet, Earth." So they are talking about the statistics of requests from each region. "Have you ever handled Earth requests?" the intern asked Erleon, clearly intrigued. "Once or twice when I was just starting out," Erleon said. "Humans are chaos incarnate. They don't know what they want, change their minds mid-process, add endless details, and by the time you've sorted it all out, they've already turned to dust. They live barely 70 human years, a cosmic blink. Their so-called greatness is nothing but pretty predictable desires. Minor pests disrupting the harmony of the cosmos, Erlon thought. Though he dared not to say it aloud, someone in the room may report him for overly disrespectful attitude toward clients. They say humans don't even trust our services, someone muttered. Most of them turn to him instead. The speaker gestured vaguely upward. Well, since technically we work for him too, it's not much of a problem, someone else pointed out. Humans just take time to believe in our company's offer. In any case, humans aren't our problem. Let the appropriate department deal with them. Hey, it is true. I mean, when we make wishes, probably we address them to God. This is not the subject of discussion. I mean, God and the universe. I don't want to offend any religious communities because I am also kind of religious. But I do accept this idea for the book, and I find it very intriguing and interesting. Erlon shifted his gaze to the screen where the final frames of the commercial were still flickering. His reflection in the glass looked impeccable, exactly the kind of image befitting his next promotion. I need to leave, he said, cutting through the chatter. See you all at the council, guys. He exited the hall under another wave of applause, his figure glowing with a renewed sense of purpose. The Universal Bureau's main headquarters was an architectural marvel suspended at the heart of one of the oldest galaxies. Erlon always admired these clean geometric lines, its light emanating from some unseen core, and undeniable sense of authority that pulsed through the very structure. He strode into the central chamber where Supreme Administrator Ariadna Cassini sat behind a desk so vast it seemed to stretch into another dimension. Her form was an enigma of shadows and light, a presence that felt as it had always existed, a part of the universe itself. Erlon's glow dimmed slightly in defense as he approached her. "You're late," Ariadna said without looking up, her voice calm and even, yet somehow cutting. "The great don't do late or early," Erlon replied, seating himself across from her. "They arrive exactly when they mean to." Ariadna finally glanced up, her expression unreadable. If she had eyes, Erlon imagined they would be narrowing. Her gaze lingered on him for a moment before she returned her attention to the shimmering screens in front of her. Conversation with Ariadna were always a delicate dance. Though Erlon thrived on confidence among his peers, he couldn't quite shake the subtle unease for her presence invoked, even though she used to be his mentor in past. "You've been summoned here to discuss your new assignment," she said. Erlon straightened, the faint glow of smugness returning to his form. This was the moment he had been waiting for. "Congratulations," Ariadna continued, her tone measured. "As of this cycle, you are promoted to Chief Administrator." She paused, letting the words hang in the air. Erlon leaned forward slightly, basking in the anticipation. "Of the Milky Way," she finished. For a moment the words didn't register. Erlon's glow brightened, then flickered, as though buffering. "Sorry?" he said finally, his voice edged with disbelief. "The Milky Way? Surely you meant the Great Attractor." "No," Ariadna said simply. "The Milky Way." Erlon's glow dimmed. "There must be a mistake. I've overseen hundreds of thousands of galaxies. Are you sending me to a single planet?" "Yes," Ariadna replied, her tone calm but firm. "But what a planet it is!" Erlon rose abruptly, his light intensifying as he began pacing in tight, angry circles. "Humans are chaos," he said finally, his tone sharp. "And chaos," Ariadna replied, "is the speed of progress." Erlon stopped, turning to face her. "I've spent eons at the Great Attractor," he said. "I've fulfilled the most complex requests imaginable, time travel, resurrection of extinct civilizations, even recreating star system from scratch, and now you want me to manage humans, their petty, incoherent demands. And this is supposed to be a promotion." Ariadne leaned back slightly, her presence softening. "That's precisely why I chose you, Early," she said. "You are the best. You've mastered complexity, but you've never faced true unpredictability. Humans are unlike anything you've encountered before." For a moment, Erlion said nothing. His glow dimmed as the weight of her words settled over him. A dozen responses rushed to the forefront of his mind, but none of them felt strong enough to reverse the inevitable. "I refuse," he said finally, his voice cold. Ariadne tilted her head slightly, as if amused. "You can't refuse," she said matter-of-factly. Erlion stepped closer, his glow flaring against. "Then assign me back to the Great Attractor. Let me resume my role as a lead executor." Ariadne was silent for a moment, her light dimming slightly as she studied him. "Very well," she said at last. "I'll offer you a compromise. You will have 60 quantas, roughly 24 Earth weeks. If you succeed, you may return to Attractor and be considered for chief administrator of the entire sector. If you fail," she paused, "you'll remain in the Milky Way." Erlion's glow flickered as he considered the terms. It wasn't a deal, but it was better than eternal exile. Slowly he nodded. "Excellent," Ariadne said, gesturing toward a shadowed corner of the room. "Meet your new secretary, Tarin Quantum." A shapeless, grey figure emerged from the shadows, its aura heavy and oppressive. Erlion stared at it, his glow dimming further. If despair and resignation had a physical form, it would have looked exactly like Tarin. "And to help you transition," Ariadne continued, "I've assigned you a mentor." Erlion's glow continued flickering, the words landing with the force of a supernova. "A mentor?" he asked, incredulous. "Yes," Ariadne said. "Lloyd Salaris." The name reverberated through the chamber, carrying a weight that made even the unflappable Erlion falter. "Lloyd Salaris," he repeated. "Isn't he compromised? Last I heard he was questioning his very nature." "Correct," Ariadne replied, her tone sharpening. "After years of working with humans, Lloyd began experiencing what he described as identity crisis. But as a former chief administrator of the Milky Way, his insights will be invaluable. You'll find him waiting in your new office." Erlion stared at her, his light dim and uneven. For the first time in his long existence, he felt something dangerously close to dread. "You'll do fine, Early," Ariadne said, her voice suddenly warm. "Humans have a way of teaching us things we never expect. Tarin, escort him to his new post." Erlion didn't respond. He followed Tarin out of the chamber, his glow reduced to a faint flicker. "Oh, and Early," Ariadne called after him, her tone unexpectedly cheerful. "Once you get to know them, you might just fall in love with humans." Erlion said nothing. He trudged after Tarin, every step weighed down by thoughts of his shattered career and the bleakness of his existence. At that moment, love and fortune, Ariadne's parting words, were the furthest things from his mind. At that moment, Erlion felt only despair, frustration, and the gnawing certainty that this assignment would be the ruin of him. What he couldn't have known, however, was that the chaotic swirl of emotions now consuming him had already made him more human than anyone else in the universe. This is the end of the first chapter, which is devoted to Erlion. We should check our cake. It looks kind of ready. So what we need to do to get this wooden skewer and try to check it. Ooh. Done. Here it is. Very nice, good looking. And we're going to wait until it cools down completely. Slightly crispy and so soft and moistured inside. Smells really like happiness. A masterpiece, moistured and slightly crispy. Absolutely perfect. Cherry syrup and pouring it here. some berries, almonds on top. Yep. Absolutely perfect. Just can't stop. So it's perfectly baked. It is moister. That would be it for today. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for listening to my book. If you were listening, please leave your comments. What do you think? Well, you only had like one chapter, but you can comment on what do you think about the whole idea about this communications with the universe and requests and people and stuff. Yeah, I will be very happy to hear your opinion. And also, I do insist, please make this cake. It's absolutely perfect. It's best for summer or best for autumn, anytime. Hope to see you in the next video, and as usual, it's going to be as delicious as always. Bye bye.